Namaste, everybody. So, I see a very auspicious gathering with the doctorals in the audience, and as I said, he knows a lot of things more about this particular topic I'm talking, and maybe he can add to it and make any kind of observations and changes if he finds something which is vague or not clear. So today we have been gathered for discussing about this festival, that Christmas festival that is actually have made its inroads into every Hindu household nowadays, and there is a we have to admit that there is a certain kind of appeal they have created by celebrating Christmas in IT companies. I happen to be in one of them. All the HR, everybody actively, ask you to come and celebrate it, so it has become something like a national festival in India. With even holiday shutdowns, they have now started almost 4 or 5 years. This entire period from 23rd December to 31st, it's all a shutdown period. No work happening here, so that everybody has to readjust their holidays to this December period. That is the level that we are, and a lot of people are giving this wishes, happy Christmas, everything, especially between Hindus, like that. So there are a lot of people who are actually utterly object to that. But instead of, rather, I present the facts and then let the people decide themselves, rather than forcing like you should not celebrate or you should not wish Christmas. Know the facts, distribute it across our Hindu brothers. And this talk is primarily to them, addressing to the Hindu brothers. Of course, if any Christian listening, then it will add to their knowledge about their own religion, and then even they can also decide it themselves after going through it. So just maybe I'll start my presentation. Maybe I'll the introduction part. I think Ramji has provided. So I just move. I happen to be primarily focused on the Veda Itihasa Puranas, and that is my primary area of research, especially the geographical aspects of it, and even some chronological aspects of it also. But these two religions that we are living with, these two religions, Christianity and Islam. So definitely I have came across a lot of studies, whatever limited I have gone to the textual references and other aspects, like cultural aspects, which you can directly see in our daily life, our own personal experience, etc. So this talk is one of them, where I have whatever information I have gathered regarding Christmas and Jesus Christ and Christianity, that I am presenting here. First and primary is that now, since we are debating about Christmas, and it is considered as the birthday of Jesus Christ, so we need to understand what is the scholarship, current research and scholarship tells about historicity of Jesus Christ. So here actually we have to say, in the current state, there is a scholarly debate about the reality of Jesus as a historical person. That itself is debated. Primarily because, see, maybe some people can have a counter question, like then you can say whether Krishna is historical or Rama is historical, and it will all be same. No, it is exactly not the same, because Jesus Christ being a historical person is a very much important aspect of the entire existence of Christianity. So it is not something similar in case of Sanatana Dharma, where we don't really stress on the historicity of Krishna or Rama, because that is not our way of looking at the prehistory or the mythology. So of course, I'm a person, one of the person who very much keenly interested in understanding the date of Krishna or Rama, and I'm in that category of researchers. But I will never say that Sanatana Dharma is dependent upon it, right? Our the entire tradition is not dependent upon whether that particular fact or not. But that is not the case of Christianity. It is a very important that Jesus existed and whatever mentioned in Bible, it actually happened. That is very much important for them. So there is no kind of equality, or you cannot compare it with the historicity of Krishna or Rama, right? Historicity of Jesus is utmostly important for Christians, not for us. So currently there are a lot of people arguing in the different directions. So anyway, because this current talk is not exactly dependent upon that, that's what I'm basically telling here. So one primary reason is the people doubt this historicity of Jesus. There is no historical text describing the events in the 3 or 4 centuries where the Jesus is mentioned as living in alternate text other than Bible. And of course, this is a very detailed topic. So many counterclaims, etc. is there. People say that okay, in this text there is a kind of vague hint, etc. So it's just happening like that. And second is, even if there is assumed that there is a historical Jesus, is it useful for Christianity? So that answer is no, because the historical Jesus is not attractive for today's Christians. Because of course there is a reconstruction of Jesus Christ's face. So he's basically looking like an Arab, or maybe like you can say precisely like a 1st century Jew, and it's quite natural. And this particular historical Jesus, all the historians never accept that he's born from a virgin or resurrected on the 3rd day, but he is having just a normal life as a preacher. So after so much of debate between whether Jesus is real or historical, whatever you get finally as a historical Jesus is not something very attractive for the religious Christians. And our talk, why it's our talk, is that because this is the impact of Jesus as a person, whether he is a mythical or real, that is undeniable. And that is what matters us. Like that is what creates some problem for us. And that is what we have to focus on. So whether he is real or mythical, around 2.38 billion out of 7.7 billion people in the world are Christians. That is 30% of the world population. Maybe some of them are diluted. Most of them say they are atheists, etc. But it is a fact. And a huge number of people in India are converted every year, and they are separated from their ancient traditions, knowledge, and wisdom. Basically, the North is completely gone. So much of ancient traditions which were see, the Sanatana Dharma or Hinduism was there here for 2000 or even 5,000 years. We have not tried to erase their ethnical identities or destroy them. But within just maybe few decades of Christian presence in India, their entire ancient culture of Polytheist culture got destroyed. All of them, and along with that, a lot of ancient knowledge, like this traditional Polytheist traditions have a lot of knowledge, medicinal knowledge, everything destroyed. So this is the final outcome that we are seeing actually. So that is why we need to be critically analyze the historicity of Jesus, and also whether he is mythical or real. What is the impact that is being caused, and that is why this particular talk is about. And so primarily I have to say that the historicity of Jesus is entirely a different and complex topic in itself. And we have only this slide to tell that we don't really, it is not, for the current talk, it is not impacting whether he is a real historical person or mythical character. But definitely it has an impact on the current Christianity, and it's a very much a sensitive topic for them. So these are the, like I have searched in the internet, so many people have reconstructed the image of Jesus Christ, and this is the kind of image, the shape, using this facial reconstruction methodologies. Same methods they use for reconstructing the face of Egyptian kings from the mummy or some other information, etc. So you can see this kind of a Jesus is the historical Jesus, and I'm not sure, like many people not going to put this on in their Christians, not going to put this image of Jesus in their prayer halls. This is the kind. And of course, you have so many artists created so many kind of faces for Jesus, and a lot of it's really funny. But like you can see here, this is something typically in the Europe. They show that this is the face of Christ. This is in Korea. So this is again somewhere in the African countries, etc. And this is just something that they're showing up. I mean, it's all their own creations. I'm just taking a snapshot only. So these are all in India. They are spreading it like this, like whale. The similar like in the south, the Kartikeya. So he's in the attire of the Kartikeya with a whale. They're calling it a Yeshu whale, something like that. And these are the historically, then they have many artists created some lot of shapes, etc. So, but now using the modern methodology of facial reconstruction, this is how Jesus looks like. And this is why the historical Jesus is absolutely of no use, even if Jesus is historical. So these are the things that they have to agree and they have to accept, all the Christians have to accept. And so just showing, this is what, this is one of the confusion that is happening in our tradition in India, and especially among the Hindus. This particular information is very rarely spread. And second is again the real name of Jesus, because everybody call Jesus like that. I mean, it's still okay, I'll say. But what I'm saying is the name Jesus is a kind of a completely, totally wrong rendering. And the Hebrew name of Jesus is mentioned as Yeshua like that. And Messiah is the kind of a title that is being given to Jesus Christ. It means anointed. And when you translate the Messiah into Greek, it becomes Christos. And from Christos in Greek translated Latin, something like Christus, it will be Christus like that. And then it is rendered, it becomes Christ like that. So this entire thing, Jesus Christ, is completely separated out from the what is the real name. And I'm just saying is just like the real face or maybe reconstructible face of Jesus is completely different from what he is. Exactly same thing about the name also. This is the kind of situation that we are. And the kind of language that the Jesus is speaking, it's like Aramaic language. It's an Afro-Asiatic Western Semitic language. And then he spoke another Hebrew language, which is little more elite and language, something like a prestige and status. So if at all this Jesus is a historical person, we have to use all that clause. He spoke these two languages. That's what I have to say here actually. And now comes to the Christmas. So now you see that the two slides, I see the kind of ambiguity we have regarding how Jesus looks like and what is his real name. And it continues to the Christmas also, which is considered as the birthday of Jesus Christ. So this is the information I gathered from internet. Maybe there is, there can be some debate on that. So, of course, the Christmas celebrated as the birthday of Jesus in 21st December. That is today. That is that day. And but many Christian scholars, they have been debating about the date, possible date of birth and death of Jesus Christ, etc. And this is one thing they have saying is he's more or less born and died in spring. That is something that they are mentioning. I mean, this is extracted from this Christian scholars themselves. Some of them who actually done research on the death and birth of Jesus, probably because the climate indicated during the birth of Jesus have a kind of elements of harvest season and not winter like that. And there are counter claims also, like now the shifting of Jesus Christ date to winter season, they try to somehow reinterpret, etc., than saying that okay, there is something related to winter, etc. But more or less, there is a consensus that it is like during the harvest season, and so it should be like something like March, etc. Now, so some scholars give a date of March 25, etc. And then the period between December 21st to 1st January or 31st December, there was a pre-existing celebration, and most of the polytheist European cultures celebrated that, and we will come to that later also. So, and then the Christmas tree, Christmas star, Santa Claus, all these were part of ancient polytheist cultures. So, what happened is that see, as this is like starting with the question of historicity of Jesus. So, people don't know really when he is born. See, the fact of the matter is that the date of birth of Jesus Christ is completely unknown. So they were just trying to because the Christianity grew in Rome, in especially in the third, fourth centuries, etc. The Roman kings, emperors gave a lot of impetus to the Christianity. So there was a lot of celebrations, Germanic festivals, Yule's festival, all these things were celebrated, and this was happening in the winter days, very much related to the winter solstice, etc. So what they did is, when Christianity spread in Europe, they wanted somehow this particular date of birth of or birthday celebration of Jesus to overshadow the pre-existing polytheist traditions, and that is what we call enculturation or cultural absorption, stealing, like that. But these are the primary motives, but there are some other motives as well. That is what, as a counter argument, some Christians say that all the people who are converted to Christianity from these European polytheist traditions themselves started celebrating it. So that is some kind of counterclaim that we have not appropriated it. Like that, also some counterclaims they have made. But ultimately, the factor of the matter is, this particular date, birthday of Jesus, is brought into the winter season, something related to the winter solstice, and totally overshadowed the pre-existing polytheist tradition, culture, festivals, and a lot of elements in that. So there's an entire thing that makes Christmas very much attractive, like Christmas tree, Christmas star, Santa Claus. Everything is actually lifted off from various European cultures, and sometimes even from Canaanite polytheism, that is the Israeli region. So now another important fact that adds to our woes, add to our all the confusion, is that there was a period when Christmas was banned, and it was for example, in 16th, 17th century, and unaware of the early Christian missionary idea of masking the polytheist tradition using Christmas. The Protestant reformers once banned Christmas due to its polytheist elements, exactly what we are talking about, like Christmas tree, Christmas star, Santa, etc. So this is not something that we are making up, right? The Protestant religious leaders recognize that these are all not part of the idea of the monotheist God of Bible, that is Yahweh. He was a very strict kind of a God, and not very different from the Islamic Allah, right? Jealous God, and then doesn't tolerate the worship of any other polytheist gods or goddesses, and very strict punishments are for example, sometimes people are burned, like witches are burned, or they are crucified, or they tortured to death for doing this kind of activities. And that is precisely that is happening when you are putting this Christmas tree, Christmas star, Santa, etc. Right? It is something like elements of other polytheist cultures that you are giving importance to. Just think about the Islamic attitude towards polytheism, that is currently active in India and rest of the world. Exactly the same way the Christianity was looking at any kind of aberrations like this. So and Protestant reforms were something like that. It was like something like very strict and very strictly like Wahhabi or Salafi kind of attitudes. So what happens is that Christmas was considered as an insult to the Christian monotheist God, who strictly prohibited polytheism and the pagan elements. And this is surprising, maybe might be surprising to many, like it was banned in England and America. The Parliament of England passed a law banning Christmas in 1644 and banned in places like Boston, the dates 1659 to 1681. considered as a criminal offense to celebrate Christmas. And in England, it was banned, lifted in 1660. And until 1856, Christmas was not a legal holiday in England. So the holiday of Christmas holidays, it just maybe some 250 years, okay, 150 years. This is only like its existence. And some Christian sects continued the ban until 1870. And today, what we happening today, like they are free to celebrate Christmas, because everybody in the 21st century have almost forgotten all these the polytheist links of Christianity, so that there is nobody to question, right? Like okay, this is a kind of a polytheist elements I am seeing in Christianity. So how can you celebrate it? Nobody is there to ask actually. So that is why today we see all these celebrations happening. And there is another thing, the ambiguities in the dates that in the Christmas is celebrated. January 19th, January 6th, January 7th, December, of course, the December 25th. So various different denominations of Christianity have different dates for celebrating Christmas. So this is again another kind of a confusion and information. And if you look at all these whatever slides I mentioned, anybody wishing Christmas, whether they are aware of it, that is what I am saying. Especially like the Hindus wishing Christmas, are they aware of these facts? That is what the question is about. And then now we come to the main part of our topic, that is the Polytheist festival that is masked by Christmas. Like so I mentioned, there was some Polytheist festivals running from 21st December to around 12 days. So it will be like ending 31st December or 1st of January, the Jule festival. So this is like a festival of the Germanic Anglo-Saxon polytheist, Celtic polytheists, and the Norse polytheism. The different elements of this diverse polytheism that is there in that festival. So it's the 12-day festival, 12 days of festivities from 21st December or 1st January, or maybe sometimes 31st December also mentioned. I mean, just 12 days after the starting from the winter solstice. And the dates may be like based on the Gregorian and Julian calendars, or if your calendars are not connected to the precession of equinox, etc., there will be a difference in the dates. So basically, it is starting from winter solstice, 12 days. And there is a celebration. It is called the celebration of the wheel of the year, or Yule, and it's similar to the Yuga or Yugadi celebrations that is there in the concept of Yuga. It's have connection to the concept of Yuga. And then there is the wheel of year. The wheel of the year is actually I mean, what I consider is like when I look at the Vedic Kalachakra, I see there is a lot of similarities. So there may be some kind of interaction. I mean, they're interlinks. And what I'm suspecting is the Indo-European ancestors migrating from Northwest India to Grand Central Asia and Europe. The central thesis of the out of India theory of Srikant Talagiri. So anyway, definitely there were a lot of ancient connections between our traditions and European traditions. And some of the elements of Rigvedic elements, like Rigvedic polytheist elements, can be found in other Indo-European traditions. So it is not a surprise that there is some kind of a similarity. And it involves burning of wood in the winter solstice and for 12 hours, and represent the 12 divisions of the wheel of the year. And this is what I have attracted my interest. So that the 12 divisions and the mention of the wheel of the year, these are all like you can find in some of the hymns in Rig Veda. So one is the polytheist. So basically, I'm saying that this particular Yule festival is the primary festival in the Europe. Different diverse polytheist cultures in Europe, they have celebrated, that has been masked by the Christianity. And yeah, right. I think I repeated one slide. Yeah. So this is just that image. That image you have seen, the Yule, the Yula, the wheel of the year. If you look at, just have a look at it, and now you can see. I think I have seen. Yeah. So here you can see the 12 divisions, 12 divisions of the sky. Basically, the Kalachakra is having like it divides the sky into 12 divisions. And of course, whatever I given the names of the divisions. This is all the Western zodiac names I given. But basically, the concept is that the entire sky is divided into 12 divisions, and you can use it like a clock. And for example, the location of the winter solstice in this particular clock determines your age or era, like that. So this particular image I created something like in 2012. So there could be a lot of variations in it. So I just put this vernal equinox point in the currently it is between Aquarius and Pisces, and 2012 it is pointing towards 2012. And the precision of equinox is a phenomenon that is happening like because of the slow movement of the axis of Earth. Like when the Earth is not only rotating, but its own axis is slowly precessing or rotating, and it takes around 24,000 to 25,500, approximately 25,000 to 26,000 years it takes. And around 72 years, in every 72 years, the vernal equinox shift by 1 degree. So for 360 degree, it will rotate for entire 360 degree in around 25,000 to 26,000 years. So this is like you can use this particular clock. Like for example, vernal equinox is at Aquarius Pisces boundary. That means you are in around 2012. Now, if it is somewhere else, then you are in that particular era, right? Like the 136 BC, like that year, you can look at it. Ignore about the dates I mentioned, because I said it is at 2012 I created it. So at that time I was focusing on this 3102 BC date of the Kurukshetra war, etc. But basically the crux of the matter is that you can use the position of the vernal equinox with respect to the stars as a kind of a clock. Just like your 20, like you can find out the hour of the day, or you can find out which day in the year you are. Like looking at the sun's position in the sky, in the diurnal position in the sky, you can find out whether it is 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock or morning, right? Similarly, there is a pendular motion of the sun, which is like in 1 year it makes a pendular motion north and south. So when it is in the northern point, you have this summer solstice, and when it is in the southern point, you have winter solstice. So 21st December it is in the southern point, and the night is the larger. The length of the night is highest in the winter solstice, and the length of the day is highest in the summer solstice. And there will be 2 equinoxes also in between. So that's what vernal equinox, autumnal equinox, summer solstice, winter solstice. Like that, you can see this is something like a cross moving across the Kalachakra. So why I have put it is here, like these are the kind of the Vedic verses that you find which are related to the Kalachakra. So this is something, if I remember correctly, the Dirghatamas, the riddle hymn of Dirghatamas. So if you search for that in the Rig Veda, you see the verses. It's like considered as a riddle, and actually the reader is asked to solve the kind of a puzzle. And in that it is mentioned about different variations of this particular divisions of the sky. There is a Sapta Yujanti Ratham Eka Chakram Ekasho Vahati Sapta Nama, like that. So I have written an article on this, wherein each of the verse I have interpreted, but I am not going into that details because it's a different topic in it itself. Some of them are like mentioned about like there's a 7. The 7 indicates, sometimes indicates the 7 Adityas, sometimes the 7 rishis, etc. But there are very specific verses which mentions about our zodiac or something rudimentary to the zodiac. That is, the 12 are the major spokes of the wheel. So basically, if you have a chakra with the 12 spokes, basically what it means is that you are dividing the circle into 12 parts. And since the entire hymn basically talks about sun and the sky, naturally it is talking about division of the sky. right, like that. And there is 12 divisions, and there is also the 360 divisions. So 360 division is used to measure the days. The solar year have the 360 days. That is what followed during the Rig Vedic period, late Rig Vedic period, like that, or middle Rig Vedic period, middle to late Rig Vedic period. This particular verse will be dated to middle to late Rig Vedic period based on Talagiri's chronology. And then it is asking who has understood it. Like it's basically a question like that it is put. So 360 division, 12 divisions, like that it is there. And there is a 720 division also, like 720 putra, like that. So this 720 basically already have that number 720, right? That is like 1 degree shift happens in 720. So again, in that puzzle, this particular number 720 is introduced. 720 is also a multiple of 360, right? 2 times 360 is 720. And 720 is also of years required for 1 degree shift in the vernal equinox, or all the 4 equinox. The precession of equinox happens at 1 degree shift for 720 years. Sorry, 72 years. So that's number 72 is somehow introduced, somehow hidden and kept in this particular hymn, so that anybody who is having the basic idea about precession of equinox can immediately get a hit in their brains. Oh, okay, this is talking about it, the equinox, movement of the equinox, like that. So again, in that, I am also mentioned about 3 gears. There is a mention of 3 gears also. I think I'm not put here, but yeah, it's a kind of a detail. The Trinabhi is there. Trinabhi is the 3 different modes, three gears or 3 different modes of calculating the time using Kalachakra. So 3 different modes, in my view, are diurnal and annual and precessional. So diurnal is known to everybody, annual is known to everybody. Precessional is actually not known, or that is the puzzle of this particular Dirgadamas hymn, which a person has to understand. That is how I interpreted it. So anyway, this in our particular talk, what it means is that the Yule has this particular wheel of the year of the Yule festival has something very much close to the Kalachakra, like that. So now we have understood something like, for example, the entire basic premise of shifting the Christmas to the this 21st December is to overshadow the pre-existing polytheist traditions, basically related to the sun god and winter solstice, etc. And now, so many. This is just one of the elements. The same elements you can see in every aspect of Christianity, because Jesus walking on the water, that is something that this is not part of the historical Jesus. So this is the kind of religious belief that Jesus walked on water. You look at many of the Buddhist texts, you will see the same thing, like I mentioned about Buddha, who is walking on the water. And then a lot of sermons of peace that you can see in the Neo-Christian text, New Testament Bible. Very, very close similarities you can see from the Buddha sermon of peace. So here actually I want to caution the Hindu brothers. So a lot of things are like the similarities. Anybody can actually recognize such similarities. So they have now the Christian have started, missionaries have started a kind of thing like propaganda that Jesus visited India when he was missing in action in Israel or Jerusalem. In that time he was in Kashmir, and sometimes they say he was in Puri Jagannath. I am hearing this kind of. So it is false actually, because there is no need for that that very strange theory, because the Buddhist missionaries were active in West Asia. So some of the ideas of Buddhism spread in the West Asian region, like in Rome and Israel, through the trade networks, everything. So everybody agrees that Buddhism have a history, at least 600 years of history before the birth of Jesus Christ. So this is a lot of time is there for this Buddhist ideas to spread into the Europe, especially into Rome, as well as in the West Asian region, where this particular texts have been emerged. And next is the report of resurrection. So there was resurrection is something that Christians or Christianity introduced, something like very, very, very much special And this is one aspect of Jesus Christ that make him the Son of God and the only way into the heaven, etc. Right? Only, but it is when you look at any researcher who's studying the polytheist traditions of ancient world, the resurrection is very common. There's a polytheist concept of sun's revival after the winter solstice. So, of course, this winter solstice is also considered as the death of sun, right? The sun's heat become the minimal or the lowest heat from sun that occur in the winter solstice. So that's considered as the death of sun. And subsequently, the sun moves northwards and it regains the heat output. So astronomically, now you have a telescopes, etc. But that time in the ancient period, they will wait for 3 days so that they'll know that okay, the sun is moving to the north. So they will confirm that it is Uttarayana. So that is why the third day is considered as the day of resurrection. So in the third day, it is confirmed that the sun is moving in the northward direction after the winter solstice. So this third day resurrection also is related to the solar activity, the solar motion, the pendular motion of the sun between Uttarayana and the Dakshinayana. And here also you have a Vedic verse, which may be one of the earliest, if I don't say that it is the source of the origin, but it may be one of the earliest where you have the notion of Marthanda. So this is the entire hymn, the hymn of Rg Veda 10:72, where you have the birth of the devas, the gods, how they are born, all these things are mentioned. Devanun vayan jana prabhocham viprayana, like vipanyana, like that. So if you look at, basically it is saying, we will not let us discuss the birth of the gods, like that. And in the hymn it mentions Aditya's 7 sons, and then the 8th son is born. The 7 sons, that is Varuna, Mitra, Ariman, Savitar, Daksha, Bhaga, Amsha. All these 7 sons, they were declared as gods, or they are Amaras, immortals. But the 8th son is born and then born dead. I mean, the 8th son, maybe biologically, if you talk, it's a stillbirth, or the child is born dead. And that is why he is called Marthanda, like born dead inside the egg. It means uterus, like that. So the 8th son was dead. But what happens is the Aditi, the mother, revived the 8th son. And the dead son was revived. But what happens is that this 8th son has a kind of a special property that he is dying and being born again dead, again born. So what is basically, of course, we know that it's basically talking about the sun setting, the sunset and sunrise, and then the winter solstice and the summer solstice, right? In everywhere, the characteristics of sun is that sun dies. Die means either daily sun is setting and morning he is rising. That is also death and resurrection. Similarly, in the annual motion, you have winter solstice where the sun is dying and then resurrected. So this aspect is represented as the Marthanda, the 8th Aditya, and that is what the Rigvedic hymn is talking about. So in Rigvedically speaking, the sun is a representation of the humanity, like the human beings die, and then like as per our dharmic tradition, of course, it slowly evolved after the Rigvedic period, in the Idihasic and Puranic period, concept of rebirth, like Punarjanma. After the birth, your death, you will be reborn again. Again you are die, again you are reborn, again you are die, again you are reborn. Something like sun. So sun represents the humanity. Sun represents the entities that will die and reborn. So it is something. The Rigvedic verse is basically representing the sun as well as representing the mortality or mortal nature of the humanity. And this thing, this particular concept, finally got shifted. Of course, like Mitra is one of the other god of, other son of Aditi. And all these eight Varuna, Mitra, Ariman, Savitar, all of these Adityas are sun gods, basically sun gods. So definitely when it went to the Western tradition, the Mitra, the entire attribute of Marthanda got transposed to the Mitra. And the Mitraism, or the worship of Mitra, spread into Rome. through some cultural interaction. And the Mitra of Roman Mitra is also become very popular in Europe. And again, that concept of resurrection of Marthanda, that is transposed to the Roman Mitra. And from there, the Christianity has absorbed it. And if you look at the most of the Old Testament, or I mean, especially the New Testament text, Jesus Christ is almost like a sun god. Basically, every characteristics of the sun is represented. Even in their iconography, that it's something like sun, like with the halo in the back. This rather. So they have completely the entire concept of a sun god Mitra transposed to the Jesus Christ. So basically that is what happened. The Roman god Mitra got transposed into the Christ, and the idea of resurrection of went into like Jesus Christ to become the person who is resurrected. Now today, if you ask the only God who is resurrected is Jesus Christ, that is the kind of understanding people are having. And resurrection, even it is, see, at least we can say in case of Europe and India, it is a shared ancestry of Indo-European culture. But you have resurrection is a common in everywhere, like in the Egyptian god Osiris is resurrected by his wife Isis. Resurrection of Tammuz, Adonis, Attis, these are all Greek gods. Then Inanna and Istar, they are in the Akkadian and Sumerian gods. Canaanite, Astorath is a Canaanite goddess. So all these goddesses all these goddesses are resurrected actually after death, resurrected. And if you look at our Itihasa Puranas, you have Satyavan died and resurrected by his wife Savitri. Very much similar to the Osiris story, like that. And there is another, not a very unknown Vyusitashva, resurrected by his wife Bhadra. It is in Mahabharata. Then Asuras are resurrected by Shukracharya. Then Danava Maya also have capacity to resurrect dead soldiers of Asuras. He will put the dead bodies in a pond. From there, they get resurrected. So it's a very common theme actually. And this is just one slide I put. There is a kind of a similar polytheist background with the holiness of the cross, the holy cross. So, for example, even in the Kalachakra I have mentioned, you can see a cross here. Like it is basically created by joining the vernal equinox and autumnal eclipse point, winter solstice and summer solstice point. So that this is an ancient cross which is finding references in various polytheist traditions, which is representing as a kind of a cross in the sky. And of course, it is holy, so it is called Holy Cross. just giving a, I mean, this is the typical word Holy Cross is completely inculturated into the Christianity. And the moment you hear Holy Cross, automatically Christianity comes into your mind. But it is an ancient polytheist tradition, astronomical tradition, if I say, like it's like created by joining the solstices and equinoxes in the sky. So it's in the Mayan tradition that it is there, and the Bharatiya tradition. Of course, they don't mention as cross, but definitely the entire concept is present actually in the astronomical texts. Like Rig Veda, you have rudimentary information in 2 hymns, or one of them in the Tamas hymn and some other hymns. But after that, Vedanga Jyotisha, you have so much of information. Then Surya Siddhanta, everywhere you will find this kind of concepts. And now, see, this is what happened, like various traditions of Christmas. So this is a Christmas tree. The Christmas tree, basically, it was a representation of this goddess Asherah. She's a Canaanite goddess and considered as a wife of Yahweh. Yahweh is, I think, the correct pronunciation. And Yahweh, like that, the god is pronounced. But Yahweh has got a wife, and she's Asherah. And Asherah was represented like a tree, and then finally it becomes a Christmas tree. This is Asherah pole, and then it slowly transposed to the Christmas tree. Then Odin. Odin is something similar to he's the god of the gods in the Norse polytheism, something like Indra. And Odin has slowly they transitioned that or appropriated Odin into the Christmas Santa Claus. So Odin, basically, it is what is mentioning is he travels around the country and give gifts to the children through the chimney of the house. like that. So that same concept was taken into the Christian concept of a Santa Claus giving gifts to the children. And then you have the goddess Inanna, that is a Sumerian Akkadian goddess, like Inanna, Ishtar, Astarte. This same goddess, like in the Akkadian, Sumerian, and Canaanite tradition, and in Asherah and Aphrodite, Venus. So this particular goddess is having a symbolic representation as a star. Here it is. So this the different types of stars representing this goddess. So again, that Christmas star is symbolically representing that. If we have an equivalent, there is a the goddess called Tara, mostly in Buddhism, which is like a representation of the star. And Ushas, there is a Vedic goddess, and both of them are related to the Venus planet. So the planet that rises in the morning, that Venus, Shukra, that is Rigvedically the goddess Ushas represent that. In Buddhism, it is a goddess Tara, like that. So the star, not Tara, that itself, this particular goddess is actually representing the stellar energy or the star energy or the morning star. Basically, not a star, but it's a Venus planet. But in ancient time, it is considered as a star. And finally, what I would like to put is that, so basically now we have gone through the various elements of Christianity, and we have broken down the different elements into the Christmas star or Christmas tree, everything into different you have traced them into different polytheist tradition, the concept of resurrection, the concept of cross, etc. These are all ancient polytheist kind of traditional elements, everything now packaged into the kind of a concept of Christianity. So my kind of request is to Christian or Hindu brothers is like, you understand your own tradition, your own culture. I mean, especially the Christian brothers. And if you are actually worshipping it, why not worship it straightforwardly, like to the respective gods and goddesses? Now that since you have moved from the basic idea of monotheism, and completely the current Christianity after the New Testament is completely far away from the Old Testament or Judaic concept of a monotheist jealous God, why not traverse the full course and accept the Sanatana Dharma, where you have everything you can do without any feeling of sin, and you like that. That is my advice to the Christian brothers. Embrace Sanatana Dharma and worship this God, worship the Sun God, because that is the same Sun God is what is packaged into the Jesus Christ, basically, if you look at it. Aditya, you worship Aditya, go to Marthanda temple or Puri Jagannath temple, like that, and do the Garbhapasi. And you can directly worship these goddesses. Ushas you worship instead of putting Christmas star. Asherah is a mother goddess, basically. So you worship Durga instead of Christmas tree. Like that, you can actually do the things instead of catching hold of the nose from the back. Catch hold of the nose directly. Don't do the convoluted way and do it. And for Hindus, we have an opportunity, like I've been talking about it for almost 3-4 years from 2018 onwards. Like, you can actually revive the Rigvedic concepts of the Adityas. Okay, of course, in Rigveda it is 7 + 1 Aditya, but in the Puranas, the Adityas were 12 in number after introducing Indra and Vishnu and Tvashta and Pushan. So 12 Aditya concept have emerged in the Purana, Itihasa Puranas. So it's totally tallies with the 12-day festival of the Yule in Europe. And there is a lot of revival of the Yule festival in Europe. So why not revive a 12-day festival in India, starting from 21st December, that is winter solstice, and count 12 days and worship all our Adityas. And then you will have one Aditya worshipped on December 25th. And like another Aditya worshipped in January 1st. So your New Year and Christmas celebration, you can do it, but as part of the Aditya festival, worshipping the actual Adityas. So this is something that, because it is my habit that I not only analyze the past, but I'll try to suggest something in the future where you can steer away from these false festivals. Because we have seen clearly, like all the elements, when you observe it, it's a peeling off like onions. There is nothing in the behind this particular Christmas celebration which is original. And whatever is original, some of them trace to Rig Veda and our Adityas. And why not we reintroduce a festival? And of course, see, since the Yule is first celebrated in Europe, it is a shared Indo-European cultural festival. And it is, if you trace our ancient history, definitely during the Rigvedic period, something, or during the Itihasa Puranic period, something similar. If not 12 days, if some other days, like 7 days, when the Adityas were 7, there will be some kind of a similar festival. Or even if you can actually synchronize the entire Indo-European tradition as a something that we can do in the 21st century with all this information that is at our disposal. Create a kind of a festival, and then you celebrate from winter solstice day to 12 days, count 12 days and have this festival. And that will again, of course, is an overshadowing of the Christmas. But that is what Christmas has done. It has in the ancient period overshadowed the polytheist tradition and brought in Christmas. Why not do the same thing today and celebrate the Aditya festival from all these 12 days, so that the festivity is also there, and you can utilize that the energy of the winter solstice directly into our life. So this is one kind of a request and suggestion from my side. Thank you. I think I done it. And any questions we can think about answering.
Thank you, Jijith ji. It was really wonderful, connecting all the dots, trying to understand Christmas and its deeper polytheistic roots or background, and connecting that with Indo-European tradition of, let's say Kalachakra and, related ideas, particularly, I think, what they call it, of course, equinox, but along with that, I'm just forgetting the name right now.
Winter solstice.
No, 72 years and 1 degree it moves.
Yeah, yes.
So, that is important to understand how it was celebrated even in Europe at that time. Okay. And why the dates keep changing over the years or over many, centuries, let's say. So now I open the floor to, audience. Okay, here is Sri Harsh. Yes, please go ahead.
Namaste, Jijith ji. This is Sri Harsha.
Namaste.
I just have some basic questions. This thing here we are saying at winter solstice solar heat is minimal, na? And hence sun is considered as dead. So this all pertains to the northern hemisphere. Now, what about the southern hemisphere, where the exact opposite happens? When the opposite happens, that is the in Australia and other regions, the length of the day will be maximum. Sorry. Yeah. So are we, in all these considerations, the South Pole and the countries or the geographies in that are not considered? Is that correct?
Yeah, it is not considered because all these cultures have developed in the northern hemisphere. Like if it is Rigvedic culture, all the Indo-European culture, or even the Christianity, everything originated in the northern hemisphere. So there are no precisely, they have never thought about the southern hemisphere.
Okay. And one more question. Actually, basically here this we are celebrating this increase in the solar output. That is increase in the length of the day. That is, we are celebrating Uttarayana. But basically, if we see the total solar output for the entire 6 months of Dakshinayana or Uttarayana will be the same.
Yeah, but we are not focusing on that. It's like a kind of a dramatic phenomena that is happening. Like we are not actually accurately measuring the solar output or anything, because if you look at during the winter solstice, see, that is why it is winter, right? Because the sun rays pass through the atmosphere for a longer distance, because it's passing obliquely. Because 23 degree angular there is a tilt of 23 degree in the axis of the Earth, So when it is a winter solstice period, Earth is positioned such that the rays of sun will pass through the atmosphere obliquely, and definitely you will experience less heat. And exactly like today, I'm wearing this sweater because of that. So less heat. That is what meant by the death of the sun. So this is not like, actually we are not measuring what is the solar output here. Whatever is observed, whatever you feel. So that is what is observed. And death of sun, of course, if you look at the Rig Vedic verse of of Aditya and Marthanda, there is a two kinds of death happening for the sun: is a daily death as well as this winter solstice death. So, but the winter solstice death is more, and the revival is more sought out. Even the Mahabharata Bhishma Pitamaha, he waited for the Uttarayana and then the movement of sun to the north. So it is a tradition which is very, very old. During the Kurukshetra war period onwards, it is there.
Sir, one more question. This Good Friday and this Easter, they typically happen in April when sun is in Mesha. So Mesha Rasi, can it be correlated something like that? Sun in Aries, where sun is at its peak, Mesha Sankranti or this.
The Christianity don't follow the Tithi calendar, right? So basically, it's a kind of a solar calendar, and Easter is something because the death. That is what the scholars said. The death and birth of Jesus all happened in somewhere in March. So the Easter is very close to whatever they are understanding. But Christmas, they have done this trickery of shifting to the whatever pagan polytheist festivals. Sir, I am just looking at Dr. L's comments. The Kashmir issue, the Jesus in Kashmir is a new kind of propaganda. After losing everything, all the other propaganda failing, and a lot of Hindus discovering that Jesus have a lot of teachings coming from Buddhism and other traditions. Some of them originated in India. They started doing another trick, saying that Jesus came in Kashmir, and there is a variation. I heard a variation that Jesus came in Puri Jagannath. He came into Puri Jagannath also.
So can you please read the whole comment? So
yes, Christmas is a Christian appropriation of Saturnilla, Mitra Jayanti, Uttarayana, and I suggest we maximize the pre-Christian elements and minimize Christian elements. So it's a very good suggestion, and very much valid. And I also have kind of a proposition of Aditya festival, which will be like corresponds to the Yule festival in the Europe. And if we can create a shared Indo-European festival traditions starting from 21st century, then all this kind of mistrust between the East and West, everything can be eliminated, and can be a united Indo-European tradition can be developed.
Jijith, you mentioned 12 Adityas related to 12 zodiac.
Yes.
And because as per Puranas or Puranic, astronomy or astrology, earlier you mentioned about 7 plus 1. Okay. Now, what do they symbolize? Like here, they symbolize 12 zodiac sign. Okay. What does earlier 7 or 1? Do they have any corresponding any symbolism associated with that?
Yeah. Actually, this aspect I am actually closely doing the study of the correlating the Rig Vedic verses with the Brahmanas and some of the Aranyakas also, where it is reflected. So currently, I have only understanding about the number, and number very clearly Rig Veda says there are only 7 sons of Aditi with the 8th Marthanda, and there is no mention of 12 Adityas in the Rig Veda. But starting from Vishnu Purana and even in Mahabharata, there is mention about the 12 Adityas. And starting from Vishnu Purana, every Purana repeats the same information. So what I have understood is, because in the list of 7 Adityas in the Rig Veda, Vishnu and Indra is not added. Basically, the foremost Aditya is Varuna, then Mitra, his friend, then Aryaman, and then there is Savitar. Savitar is considered as an Aditya, and then Daksha is an Aditya, and Amsha and Bhaga is an Aditya, and Martanda. So Daksha's case is a very interesting case because in the Puranic period, Daksha is mentioned as the son, the father of Aditi. And again, the same hymn I have mentioned, in that it mentioned Aditi is the daughter of Daksha, and Daksha is the son of Aditi. So it is poetically mentioned, and that the entire riddle is created in Rig Veda itself, but in subsequently in the Puranas, the Daksha is transposed into the father of Aditi, and then you introduce some other Rigvedic devatas into the Parjanya, and then Pushan, and then if I look at the slide, very clearly I can tell. So what happened in the Puranic period is Savitar is replaced by Parjanya, Daksha is replaced by Dhatri or Dhata, like that. And then Indra and Vishnu are added, and Twashtra and Pushan. They are also Rigvedic gods, but they are never mentioned as sons of Aditi. But in the Puranic tradition, they are introduced. Basically, what it means is, and we should be very honest, is that Purana has made a lot of innovations, and sometimes it have information contrary to the Rig Veda. But for us, since in 21st century, they are all ancient. And whatever Purana is mentioning, the 12 Adityas, they are corresponding to 12 months. That is what Purana mentioned. 12 Adityas correspond to 12 months. But 7 Aditya correspondence, nothing is mentioned in Rig Veda. But there may be some connection because the number 7 is mentioned in that Kalachakra related verses. So it can be like an ancient 7-day, we don't know. And I don't assert it because I don't have information. Whether we have a 7-day week considered in the Rigvedic period, like Monday, Tuesday, like that. We can only speculate because I don't have confirming information regarding that. So this is what I think answered your question.
Right. So then I'll take another question. So where does the Santa Claus phenomena come? It does not fit with it's not like they are saying that Jesus Christ is coming and bringing the gift. Okay, they could have done this rather than bringing another, character with that. So do you know that how does that happen? How did it happen?
Yeah. So basically, the Santa Claus comes from the Norse polytheism primarily. Dr. Els can correct. So they have the Odin as the equivalent to Indra, who is considered the god of the god. And Odin's son Thor is very famous now because of the Hollywood movies regarding about him. But completely, there is no connection with the real Thor. So this Odin, when Christianity entered the northern Europe, that may be the time period wherein this strong culture they cannot erase. So this is typically happening in monotheism, is something that cannot erase with all the might, they will absorb it. So in the Islamic, if you Arabian Islamic theology, they have not rejected Allah, because Allah is a very much nobody will accept if you reject the polytheist God Allah. So they retained the polytheist God Allah and turn Allah into the monotheist God. And Makkah they cannot reject, and Ramadan they cannot reject, Hajj. So these are all ancient traditions of Arabia. So whatever they cannot destroy or erase, they will absorb it. Same thing might have happened. That is what my view, that they could not erase this very interesting tradition of this Odin giving gift to the children. It's very attractive, and they just absorb it.
That sounds logical. I think Tarun Roy, he would like to add something. Jijith, can you please read the comment for YouTube audience?
So this is what Tarun Roy says. I would like to add something. I heard that Santa Claus had green dress, but Coca-Cola advertisement made him with red clothes. So it may be true, but I am not able to confirm that. If it is, that is a very interesting thing. And maybe before closing that, I will also add one thing, not related to this. There is something that our traditionalists also have to do regarding this Uttarayan. Because currently the Uttarayan, everybody or school children in their 5th standard onwards, they learn about Uttarayan. That is a movement of sun to the north, happened in 21st of December. But our tradition, it is celebrating somewhere in mid-January. And this is something that we need to correct, because like we question criticize Christianity, but then we have to do it ourselves. This is something that we have to clean up in our own tradition.
But isn't it, Jijith, that Sankranti is basically because because it has astrological significance of sun is entering into Mesh Rashi, Makar Rashi. So that's why it's Makar Sankranti. Okay. So
Makar
that is
Sankranti is
celebrated not because of winter solstice, but because of other reason.
Yeah, right. So I will say that I will add that because the tradition holds that the winter solstice happen at Makar Sankranti. That is what. But what happened is that around 200 AD, 200 CE, the winter solstice, because of its as I said, 72 every 1 degree 72 years, the Makar Sankranti and the Uttarayan was coinciding, somewhat more or less coinciding actually. So that is the time when the tradition originated. And around 1800 years, we are actually blindly following that tradition. So if somebody say Makar Sankranti, it is still right, correct. Makar Sankranti, it's like, of course, even there also, if you ask real true astronomers, they will say the boundary between the Makara, Dhanu, Makara Rashis, there's happen, the sun transit somewhere in the date of 20 January. So again, there is a 5-day offset there, but we can ignore that, because boundaries can be defined arbitrarily, right? We can say our traditional boundary is different, like that. So Sankranti, if you say Makara Sankranti, there is no problem. But if you say it is Uttarayana, then there is a conflict with the modern science. But our Sanatana dharmic tradition is never against science. It's always go with the science, both go hand in hand. So dharma and science that talk about. But because of our carelessness or maybe inertia, this particular thing has come out. People are celebrating the Makara Sankranti as a Uttarayan. That is not correct. That's what I'm saying.
So Uttarayan and Makar Sankranti is different, and we must at least know the difference between two.
Yeah. Also, traditionally, we need to celebrate Uttarayan on 21st December, and Makara Sankranti, you can celebrate on 14th January, even though there is an offset of 5 days, it's fine.
Right. Let's take the last comment from Dr. Elst. He has put it there. That Saint Nicholas.
Yes. I'll read it out. So whatever Dr. Elst is telling is the correct thing. The Saint Nicholas of the 4th century from the greater Byzantine got attributes of Woden. The black pates are the Woden's wild horde equivalent to the Rudra's Maruts. Right. So that is a clear picture, how it happened, right? That transition. And definitely there is a lot of correlation you can make with the Rudra's Marut, like that. That's a Rig Vedic, if anybody familiar with the Rig Veda, the Marut are the kind of a troop of gods, always flock together, like that.
Okay, we have one more comment from Raj Abhishek about Swami Vivekananda crossing the sea on the same day. So at least we also should recognize this day as something he is calling as Day of Resolution, when he bravely sailed across and took message of Hinduism to the larger world. Okay.
Yes. Definitely. That is also something very much important. But for a traditional festival to pick up, it has to have some big roots in our ancient traditional texts like Rig Veda and the Puranas. So the only thing I have come across in all my research starting from 2018 onwards is this particular Aditya festival. And anything like Sir Vivekananda's mission definitely adds to that, I would say.
Right. Okay, Jijith, thank you very much for giving this wonderful talk, connecting all the dots. And I think it will be very helpful for younger generation to understand where the roots go back of Christmas, and how many polytheistic element got connected and was marketed by missionaries again to cheat, subdue, idolaters or polytheists. That is the irony. they're using polytheist message in the garb of Christianity or Jesus Christ, and selling it to polytheist society in the name of Christianity. So that full circle is coming. But I think your talk will be very helpful for understanding how to understand the polytheistic root of Christmas. Thank you very much.